everybody, and welcome back to Shifting Tones, the podcast with nerdy tones and shifting formats. I am today's host, Steph, and I'm joined by my two lovely co-hosts, Lorissa.
Hiya.
And Sam.
Hoya.
Hoya. Hello. Hi. How are you guys today?
Oh, just peachy. Peachy. Some say appley, some say orangey. I'm peachy.
Interesting.
Oh, nice. So I do want to apologize to our listeners. We did take a week's break. Mostly my fault because I'll shout it out. It was mostly my fault because it's the end of the teaching year and it's quite stressful and a lot. So we took a little mental break, but we are back in full swing and should be kind of good to go the next couple weeks now.
No, that's super good. I mean, we all deserve one because I took a step back for a couple weeks ago too. And so I think, Sam, you're due for an absentee moment.
Oh, I have to take a break from the podcast?
You know.
You don't have to if you don't want.
Okay, see you, bye.
No, but other than the little break that we took, what else is going on? We've got 2 weeks of stuff to catch up on, I suppose, now.
I know, and I keep trying to remember. I'm like, each week kind of blurs together for me, so I'm like, wait, what happened? Like, what stories did I already tell? What was the last thing I said? I think last time we spoke about visiting you, going to the nerdy mall. And,
but that was a while back. That was on the last episode we talked about that.
Yeah, I know. That was the last thing I remember talking about on this podcast. So I'm trying to think of what has happened since then. And, you know,
stuff.
Mother's Day has happened. It's been a lovely weekend for that, going to see all the moms. And it's a delight to see everyone. And not only my mom, my mother-in-laws, but also my sisters-in-laws who are also now moms. So it's all great.
I'm sorry. It was just, I thought Sam was going to start talking about the family stuff too, or chime in, and then Sam was just quiet.
Yeah, he was just like, nah, man, I'm bored with this, moms.
Told you I was leaving. Told you I was out.
That's fair.
No, I had to take my headphones off. I really think the issue is my headphones, so I need a new pair.
So he just wasn't listening.
I could hear it. It was just like ambient, in the background.
Whatever. You just happened to go quiet whenever women are present in the chat. I get it.
No. I heard it about Mother's Day, and I heard that it was a wonderful weekend with family, and you said your sister-in-laws are mothers now, so we celebrate with them. See, I paid attention.
All right, fair enough. Did you also enjoy celebrating the mothers over the weekend too, Sam?
Yeah, it wasn't bad. We had a good brunch with my family, and then went over to Larissa's family's house and had a nice Japanese dinner.
Oh, we did, yeah.
Just hung out and talked, and it was good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I was going to say, when you kept saying random fruits about how you're doing, I was like, and are you feeling strawberry, perhaps?
No.
No? Oh, are you not going to tell our listeners about your first baked tart experience?
Oh,
I thought you were talking about the new wallet you bought.
Oh, yes, I did buy one of those, too.
Larissa bought a wallet with strawberries on it. That's what I thought she was getting at.
Nope.
What's the tart? I want to know.
We had to make a dish for Mother's Day for my brother's party that he was holding for all the mothers. And originally, I was going to be baking some sort of breakfast casserole thing, but my niece is allergic to eggs, so I figured that probably wasn't a great idea.
No.
Just to have them around her if everybody's eating them and like picking her up and holding her and stuff. And
makes sense.
So I just looked up a raspberry cream cheese tart recipe and baked it from scratch. So it was really delicious. Everybody seemed to like it. I think it should have been cooled before serving, but people said they were okay with it being warm. I don't know. I'm not a professional baker. It tasted fine, so I'm happy.
Well, it's funny you say that because everyone, of course, came to me and they're like, oh my goodness, Larissa, this strawberry tart is fantastic. And I'm like, guys, I tell you this every single time we bring a dish. Sam is the one who baked it. I can't take any credit.
Yeah, Lorissa doesn't bake a lot. She cooks with us, in tandem, but doesn't really bake.
No, I like to call myself the sous chef, where I will hand off ingredients and clean as you go, put the dishes in the dishwasher, that kind of fun stuff. But Sam does most of the cooking.
I tried baking cookies recently, maybe within the last 2 weeks, and I failed miserably. I think I added too much water, so it was too liquidy.
No, wait,
and they were like,
why'd you add water?
Okay, well, there are pumpkin spice cookies from a bag. I got them at Dollar Tree. I picked them up just on random.
Okay.
And then it said add a little bit of water, but then it just wasn't mixing together. So I added a little bit more, and then it was too soupy. And then they tasted weird, and I was like, ugh. Because I've only ever had pumpkin cookies homemade. So I've never had one from a bag. And I'm like, these suck. Yeah. So I just took them to school and had the kids eat them.
Wow.
They won't know
Have some soup cookies.
Hey, I bought icing at least, like cream cheese icing. So it kind of masked up. They weren't bad. I just didn't like the flavor of them.
I get it.
But
now, did the recipe say add some water, or did it give you an amount?
It did. Like, a certain amount. Like,
okay, then maybe, maybe some of us just didn't listen.
It was a certain amount, and I did the measuring cup or whatever spoon thing, and then it just did not mix at all. And I was like,
Steph isn't like, I know better. I know to add more water. Make it a nice soupy cookie.
Well, I didn't add that much extra, but it just was not great. So I was like, oh, well.
Oh, no.
Fair enough. Enough about you guys, obviously. And I mean, every time everybody listens to this podcast, they think, what's the one thing I came here for? It's Sam, obviously. Doesn't matter if it's my controversial core. Doesn't matter if I'm talking. Doesn't matter if I'm just, sitting here. They want more Sam. So that's what I'm going to give them today. More Sam. Sam's Controversial 2024. Okay. Yeah, I think, I don't know if I told you before. I just have a notes section on my phone called Podcast Small Talk. So I have episode ideas in there, but I also put my little, controversial points in there. Number 1, rounding up for charities at restaurants or things in general. It's got to be the biggest scam ever. You don't need my money. You're a $1 billion corporation. You don't need my extra 30 cents to help whatever program you're helping because you're just using it as a tax write-off. So I don't like rounding up. They're like, would you like to round up your 84 cents to $10 to donate to this charity? I'm like, no, you guys can donate your own money. You don't need my extra money. You're welcome that I'm even, buying a sub from you in the first place. So
oh my goodness. Oh, wow. Call out. Wow. I wonder who that might be.
That could be Jimmy John's, Penn Station, Firehouse subs. It doesn't matter. It's all of them.
The real fans know, though.
I just said sub because it's generic. Number 2. Oh, Steph, do you have any comments, questions, concerns on that first one?
Huh?
I would skip over you. Oh my gosh. Do you have any?
No. I get it. It's a write-off. But I think, in general, if people want to give, it's from, the goodness of their hearts. But
I think it's more out of guilt. I think maybe 50-50. I don't know. If I ever have rounded up or said, yeah, just do it, it's because I feel guilty. And I'm like, well, it's only 8 cents. It doesn't really matter. I mean, is my 22 cents really going to save a child's life or get some kid to go to college? It's not. You
never know.
I do know. Number 2, what is Tangela?
Pokemon.
Yes, I know, but it's in its Pokedex.
It's yarn. It's definitely yarn. It's a ball of yarn.
It's not. It's vines. And so in the Pokedex, it says that its vines fall off easily all the time. So what's underneath it? If its vines fall off easily all the time, then everybody's seen that that little black orb underneath. Is it just a little guy?
I imagine it's a bug.
Why does he have shoes? Why does he got shoes on?
I don't know. Bugs
so his feet doesn't get dirty.
Yeah, he's cute.
That's fair. Okay. Number 3, urgent care is the new Dollar General. This is something we had a conversation about this weekend. Lorissa thinks it's car washes.
I do.
I think it's urgent care, and I think it's some sort of pyramid scheme or something by the
money
bourgeoisie.
laundering.
Yeah. But they are popping up everywhere.
Yeah, I think you need to get some more context for that because
over by our house, and this isn't just by our house. I was going to
say, I'm lost.
So on one of the streets by our house, within a 1 mile strip of the same road, there are 3 urgent cares.
Yep. And
then when we were in another town, 20 minutes away, same situation, 3 urgent cares on the same street within a mile of each other, and they are popping up
they are
crazy. And I'm like, it's the new Dollar General. You go out into the middle of nowhere, there's a Dollar General on somebody's farm, and I think the next thing is going to be urgent cares.
Absolutely. Or a car wash. I think it's car wash.
Well, of course, healthcare is just a business here in this country, so it makes sense.
And
they're popping
that's
up.
the biggest problem. Yeah. If it was free, I wouldn't mind. I'd be like, oh, sweet, more free options. But
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a little weird. And I guess if it was in the rural areas more, that'd probably be a good thing because I know the rural counties have a severe lack of medical services. So maybe they should be popping up like Dollar Generals.
So I got just a couple more. We had a week off, so I had I'm trying to get through them quick, Steph. Okay, I apologize.
Okay,
Jeez.
okay. I'm
Steph,
not complaining.
Golfers are the meanest, quote unquote, athletes. If you want to call them athletes to begin with, I guess golf is a sport, but I don't know if I would consider them athletes.
They're definitely athletes. They're just gentlemanly assholes.
I have a heart condition that doesn't allow me to play sports anymore, but the one sport I was told I was allowed to play was golf because it's not really a sport.
No, it's a sport. You just take it as a hobby. There's a difference between hobbyists and professional athletes.
Professional golfers have somebody else carry their bag for them, and then they ride in a golf cart. They're not doing anything. But anyways, I say they're the rudest or meanest because I swear every time I've gone golfing, and this isn't like I went golfing recently, I just drove past a golf course and thought about it, is one, usually they're snooty, stuck up people because they have a lot of money and golf's a rich man sport. But two, no matter when I'm golfing, there's somebody always like behind you, like trying to pass you or trying to tell you to hurry up. And I'm like, look, this is supposed to be a relaxing sport where you take your time, you're out there to have fun. And then they do get past you and we're like, yeah, sure, play through. You guys have one extra person and they suck. And they're just older people who suck. And I'm like, oh, okay, you wanted to hit the ball 30 feet and then, get up in your car and drive away because you're embarrassed. Whatever. Just old people are rude too.
Hot takes.
Number two, these kind of go hand in hand with YouTube ads. The YouTube ads I'm getting right now are like the weirdest, worst things. They're all like how they feel AI written.
They definitely
They're like, you can get $10,000 in government subsidies like these people are if you just scan this QR code now.
Do you not use like an ad blocker?
No, we're good
because
people.
I support my my YouTube creators.
Oof.
Yep.
Oof. Yeah. Imagine supporting a YouTuber like Spiffy Steffi.
I watch those ads sometimes too. But if you give me a 2-minute ad, I'm skipping that bad boy.
Well, the worst right now is Mood Gummies. Not a sponsor. I don't want them to ever be a sponsor, but it is like the most cringe-worthy, horrible commercials. And I think they're trying to cater to boomers or to older people. And they're like, I just took a Mood Gummy and now I'm having the greatest conversation of my life with Peepaw. And then Peepaw took a Mood Gummy too. And now he wants to go hunting. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird stuff and oddly written and it's annoying and I skip it every time.
I've never even heard of it.
Well, someone uses an ad blocker and doesn't support local artists and their favorite creators.
Rough. Hashtag cancel Steph 2024.
Okay.
But yeah, that was controversial. These were a little bit of horror stories, wouldn't you say, Steph?
Yeah. The other, I'm gonna interject with one other big thing that happened to me was I got a tattoo. But
that's right. Oh my goodness. Yes.
Boring. I'm gonna ad block this. I don't want to hear it. You can skip 30 seconds if you don't want to hear Steph's story.
Wow. Yeah, no, for my Mother's Day, I took my mom a week early to go get a tattoo. She's never had one, so I paid for a tattoo, and then I got one myself. So it's kind of like awesome. A mother-daughter bonding time with tattoos.
Nice.
So how did it turn out?
It turned super nice. Like, it's about a little over a week since I've had it, and I love it. It's on my arm. It's a manga panel from Naruto, and it's just awesome. So
that's cool.
I love it. It's super cool. Funny enough, most people at work have not even realized I've had this on my arm, nor have the kids, which is quite surprising because they're sitting next to me and I don't know how you don't notice it, but whatever. Really just goes to show people do not care what you do, look like sometimes. It just does not matter. So, and that's just without me even saying anything, you know?
Kids aren't really the most observant usually anyways.
That's fair.
Not in certain ways, but in other ways, absolutely.
Miss Steffi, you have a booger hanging out of your nose.
Well, I remember way back when I had this kid I was tutoring in English, and he asked me, why did I have purple under my eyes? And I'm like, oh my God. I was like, do I look that tired? Like, I didn't think I looked that bad this morning. And then I never really was self-conscious. And that was when I was like 24. Yeah. So I wasn't even that self-conscious about like that. And I don't think I have bad like under eyes, but maybe I just didn't sleep well the night before or something. Jeez. But he's like, yeah, miss, why do you have purple under your eyes? And I was like, oh, Lord. So that was kind of horrifying to hear because I'm like, is it bad? So after I took him back, I was, kind of horrified because I'm like, it's not even that bad, but he thinks it's bad.
Man, that's the horror story here.
All right. Speaking of horror, I was trying to, woohoo, look at us tying in the theme.
Mhm.
Today's theme of the episode, the transition, whoop whoop, it is talking about different types of horror stories regarding anime conventions.
I'm excited.
So for those
I've never been to one.
Yeah, I was going to say, for those of you who've never been or not really have even heard of what an anime convention is, it's for all types of people who enjoy anime, be it manga, anime, if you like to cosplay, even if you like to game, or even just sit and watch anime with strangers or people. They have a convention put together to celebrate the culture of anime and the different things and shows of it. So going to anime conventions, I know that I have been to, I think 13 or 14 in my life.
Wow.
Larissa,
That's
how
a
many?
lot.
Yeah, how many have you been to, Larissa? Do you know?
Well, strictly anime conventions. I've been to a lot of conventions for my art recently. So, I mean, I've been to the same anime convention like 5 or 6 times.
That counts. 5 different times, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've always meant to go out and try different conventions, but I never had the opportunity. But who knows? Maybe I'll go venture off one of these days.
Sam, have you ever been to an anime convention? Strictly
I've
anime.
been to like 4 or 5 GIS conventions. For mapping.
Mm-hmm,
No, I've never been to a strictly anime convention. Closest things are Larissa's art shows.
Yeah.
So a couple of them were gaming conventions, and the other ones were just I wasn't an anime, just like fandom, in general. So
yeah, more like comic book
comics. Yeah, but there was like a lot of like Star Wars stuff and video games. It was kind of all mixed.
A generic kind of fandom. But did you see anime stuff at that convention?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
There was anime stuff there.
Okay, so it was kind of more of a mix one rather.
Absolutely.
So my thing is we're going to talk about horror stories because I've been to quite a lot, so I've got quite a few good stories to tell in regards to my experience. And I figured, Larissa's been to a couple. I wasn't sure if Sam had been to some, but Sam, you can I'll give you a pass. What you can talk about, if you have any, you could talk about anything that you saw or experienced at your little fandom conventions then.
Just a little guy.
Just a little
I'm just a little guy.
Man.
But yeah, so I wanted to kind of start off with one, and I want to preference this that nearly every anime convention that I have attended, I have been a minor at.
Wow, you even been to one as an adult?
I went to one, the last one that I attended, I was 18 years old. So It has been
wow, quite some time.
It has been 11 years since I've been to an anime convention.
So when you've been a minor at these conventions, you've cosplayed as like minor 49er or like one of the 7 dwarfs or like
Definitely.
No, and here's the thing. When I was younger, I actually cross-dressed. I never cosplayed as like girl characters. I always went as guy characters because
what is that called? That's
cross-dressing.
No.
Oh.
What's the
gender swapping? Yeah, gender bend. Yep.
That's the term I think of as gender bend when somebody's like...
No, gender bend is when you take the actual character and you like turn them into the other gender, yeah?
Yeah, no, Steph's right.
Because you're just...
Fine, I don't know stuff.
No, the only reason I know that is I've gender bent a character before as a cosplay, so...
Yeah, like if I wanted to go as like female Ash Ketchum, I could do that. That's gender bending.
Fair.
But it, like for me to cross dress, I'm dressing as Ash Ketchum himself. I'm dressing as the boy. Gotcha. Like you can do a female version of Ash, but yeah, that's gender bending. Anywho, regardless of that, but I do want to say that because the only time I went to an anime convention when I was like not a minor, it was when I was 18, right. So I was still very young. I'm going to tell one, and this is when anime conventions were not so highly popular, or they were popular in just a very niche community of people that liked anime. But for those of you who, back in the day, anime used to not be as widespread as it is now. And it used to be very, like, weird to like anime.
Absolutely.
And ostracized almost. Unlike now, it's been a whole different culture shift. Now that streaming services has provided it, it's become more common, and now it's almost like cool to like anime.
Absolutely.
But back in the day, and I'm sure some people may know what I'm talking about, but it was a very, and I mean very common occurrence to hear and see glomping.
Yes!
Do you know what that is?
Glomping! Oh my goodness. Oh man, there was a whole...
I can take a guess. It sounds like Lorissa knows. I didn't want to.
I do, absolutely.
Sam, do you know what the term glomping is?
No, but it sounds like glamping. And glamping is glam camping. So glomping is glam stomping.
I mean, that's not too terribly off, to be honest.
Lorissa, do you want to explain what glomping is?
Sure, absolutely. And it traditionally came from like scenes from animes where anime characters, specifically in shoujo, would do this all the time. And so then because it was so outrageous, it turned into memes. And so then when anyone who went to a con who may or may not be up to date with what's socially appropriate, they would run up to their favorite character, regardless if they knew this person or not. And this person would be cosplaying their favorite character. Sorry, let me back up there. And they would run and like jump and then hug that person.
Oh, that's horrible.
It was a full on like American football tackle sometimes.
Exactly.
It wouldn't, some people would just like run up and hug. Like like it's more of not, you're not walking. You are
no.
You are quickly walking or sometimes sprinting or running after somebody, and it could be you're facing them or you see them from behind, and that happened quite a bit. And as a stranger, you know, all of a sudden you're getting either tackled because you lose your footing, or you catch yourself and then a stranger is just like hugging you, you know, because you're dressed as that character. Now, I will say, like, socially, there were not many like established norms at anime conventions. No, eventually it kind of had to get established, but yeah, that was a very common occurrence. And there'd be times that, you know, me being a young kid in, if not middle school, I was in high school, I got attacked quite a bit.
Really? You got glomped?
Yes.
Wow.
I mean, and you just don't know it's happening sometimes, you know, because people just run at you and then they hug you.
You should have cosplayed a character with brass knuckles.
That's fair.
Do you mind me asking, like, who it was? Was it mostly like other girls? God forbid it was slightly older men.
No, it was mostly females that would do it. So that wasn't too bad. But yeah, I mean, you get an occasional hug from a guy here and there, and it is a little creepy, but you just kind of move on real quick. I've never had any horrible experience with guys, thank goodness, at anime conventions. I've had creepy experiences with women, and I'll talk about that here soon.
Wow, that's surprising. I mean, not totally surprising, but like definitely whenever I walked around at cons myself, there was definitely like the people who were like, let's just be honest here, and not everyone who is on the spectrum can't always read social cues, but there was definitely a crowd, especially back then, where there were some people who were on the spectrum who weren't told anything about boundaries. And so I saw a lot of that happening, and it made me feel even worse because I'm like, you don't really understand what you're doing. And then there'd be another crowd of men who would be like, oh no, they know what they're doing, and then they're catcalling you. They didn't catcall me, but they would definitely catcall and harass other women who were wearing cosplays that were actually most of the time not even provocative. They would just be like, ooh, sexy lady.
I catcall every day. I say, hey, come here, Mr. Pibb. Because then they come over to me and I can pet them and give them belly rubs and stuff. And
for context, listeners, that's his actual cat, not.
Yes, I can confirm that. Oh man.
So what was your take, Sam, hearing this, since you've never heard of this before?
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't surprise me. I feel like when I was at these shows with Lorissa, I definitely saw people like run up to people or like, you know, get excited and see somebody and like ask to take a picture with them was the most of it. I never saw anybody like hug somebody or tackle somebody. And I know definitely that the atmosphere and the environment has changed and shifted over the last 10, 15 years.
Shifted?
It's been...
Hey.
The tone has shifted over the last like 10 to 15 years with conventions. Just things I've heard about and seen where people were maybe, you know, way overly excited, like you said, glomping and like stalking someone at a convention.
Yes.
And now it's more or less like people are there for the experience. They're there to, you know, see the panels, buy the art, you know, buy the figures and stuff like that, meet people. Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of that just has to do with anime and nerd culture and stuff being more accepted than ever before. So there's a lot more quote unquote normal people in the mix as opposed to just a bunch of freaks and losers like you guys.
Well, the thing too, I think having such a bad time with convention stuff and having horror stories, it kind of paved the way to have those boundaries in place. Like you said, you see people kind of run up to people, but you're not like tackling someone.
No, that's not a thing anymore. And I think this is an important moment to say that at the tail end of when I stopped going to cons, I think the last one I went to, I started seeing signs for this, and this was a really marked shift in the atmosphere and cultures around cosplay. Is I started seeing signs for cosplay is not consent, and that was a huge movement in the convention scene. Where after seeing that, there was way less like clomping is like base level baby tier harassment. Like if you're not consenting to it, it got way worse than that, obviously, but I did notice a lot less harassment and catcalling and things that have happened ever since that like con where I started seeing those.
That's funny you mentioned those signs, which is good. It's good to have those signs, but I remember back in the day too, alongside glomping, there was a thing called a yaoi paddle.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I watched a whole video about that on YouTube, and it was from the Yaoi paddle. Fun fact.
Can I guess?
Yes, let Sam guess. Well, first of all, Sam, have you heard that term before? A yaoi paddle?
No.
Do you know what yaoi is?
Isn't that the anime Yaoi on Ice?
No,
right? With the guys figure skating?
I mean, you're not wrong there, but it's specifically
Wait, I'm still guessing.
He's guessing?
Still guessing.
Okay, all right.
If I had to guess, but now you've tainted my guess. My original guess was it was like a bunch of, like a neo-Christian cult kind of thing, and they came in with their paddles, and they said, this is for Yahweh, and they paddle people.
No.
Isn't that like a term for God, right?
Yahweh, not
you're thinking
Yaoi.
of Yaoi. Yaoi is spelled YAOI, and now if you're a younger listener, you probably don't know it as that term. It's kind of outdated now. You might know it as BL, which is boys love.
Oh, I'm off. I'm a little off there.
Yeah. So it's called a yaoi paddle, right? So yaoi, BL, boys love, right? Two boys you ship together. And then what do you think that the paddle's for then, Sam?
Yeah, it's from Greek culture.
I assume like a fraternity paddle where you just spank each other.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
So are fraternities
no
yaois?
Well,
are you sure? Because there's paddling each other.
Closeted people who were in the when I say closeted anime nerds who were in fraternities at the time, but no.
Sam's like, I'm making connections. I'm putting up the red thread.
Hold up. Let me cook.
It's funny.
No, but at anime conventions, quite a lot of the times you have, because there's so many guy characters. I'll say this: the majority of animes is a male character dominated like media, right?
Yeah.
There's always male characters. That's what they focus on a lot. A lot of the main characters are like that, and so because there's so many few female characters in anime, there's just a lot of dudes. That's just how it goes. And a lot of the times people like to ship and pair their two favorite boy characters together and yada yada. And then people would just also get a paddle, and they would either buy one that already said yaoi on it, or they would make their own and paint it on, and you just carry it around. And then for people that you shipped, you just go around and smack people's butts with it while they're in their costume.
Like you would just walk up to them and smack them?
You could.
Yep.
That's wild. So nobody's catching fists?
Nope.
Yeah.
But that's what, like, I mean, you either just, I mean, it happens to you. What do you do? Like, it's just like.
I throw fists.
Well,
I throw fists.
I know, but most of the time, people are either minors, like I was. Like, what am I supposed to do? I'm 15
throw
years
fists.
old, right? Like.
Yeah, it was really awful. And fun fact, so I can interject with my fun little story.
You're good. Yeah, go
not
ahead.
Fun. But apparently, the local craft store around here, which shall not be named, but in order for Sam to understand the context and be surprised, it's a local craft store that was now out of business that I may or may not have purchased all of my wedding favors from a few years ago because they were going out of business. That was actually where the people who made it started in our region, Steph, where I was from specifically, and that's where they bought the paddles from, is from that craft store.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So
I know what you're talking about now, yeah.
And so I think it's important to note that a lot of the time, it wasn't just like guys smacking guys, because there's so many male characters in animes that are like cool. A lot of girls would cosplay guys like Steph did. So a lot of the times you would be doing that to other women. It would be a lot of guys doing that to women to harass them.
It was just
all
lot.
This just sounds like harassment.
It was really gross.
Yeah, I mean, but like at the time, like you don't know what you're getting. Like for me, I had never really known what I was getting myself into going to the conventions, and then that was just a thing that happened. Thankfully, I mean, the paddle's pretty big.
It's been banned.
It's been banned now. It's no longer a thing. But the biggest thing is like you see the people carrying them. They're pretty big. Like, you can't just hide it, No. I mean, sometimes people hide it behind them and you can't tell, but for the most part, you can see people who hold them. So after it happened to me once, I never...
It happened to you?
Yeah, I'm surprised.
Oh, I was just going to ask, has it happened to you?
Yes, that's why it's a horror story.
Steph, no! It's never happened to me.
It didn't hurt. It was like a light tap. But still.
That's disgusting.
Exactly. And I'm like, because like I said, I'm like 15. I'm like,
Yeah.
Because it's odd. It startles you,
Yeah, and that was before like a lot of the conversation around consent started.
Exactly.
So back then, like you had no like socially like appropriate things that you would have been taught to do.
Yeah, so I just kind of like went, oh, okay, walked away, and then ever since then, like I just kept an eye out for people carrying them and I just stayed clear away from them, so.
Carry your taser with you.
I mean, honestly, my friend, when I went with her to some of these cons, she brought pepper spray with her.
Oh, wow. I mean, smart. I would have never thought of that in high school.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Kind of back to, we're talking about weird things. And I know, like, we'll get into other stories. The weirdest thing I've seen at, like, one of Larissa's shows kind of has to do with glomping as far as... Man, I don't know if we're going to talk about the same thing. Is there's a girl... And I think it was a common thing, at least last year or 2 years ago, because of TikTok, primarily. There was this girl, like, walking around with a sign that said, like, give me $5 and I'll step on you. And that was, like, a big thing that was happening. And we watched it happen. We watched somebody pay this woman $5. And I'm like, there's nothing wrong with doing whatever you want to, I guess, as long as both parties agree to it. But it almost feels like solicitation. Like,
it definitely is.
And funny enough, that did happen also at anime conventions, Sam. The same
It did.
same
oh,
type
really?
of
Okay,
thing.
so it's not a new thing.
No, that's like it would be like slap me or step on me, those type of things, same thing. But also the one kind of goes along with it was like people just always holding up free hugs.
Free hug signs.
Free hug
that's the
signs.
worst.
That
And,
was
like,
the more innocent version of it, unless you knew that the guy was giving off like creepy vibes.
And a lot of the guys would hold them up.
Yeah.
More so than women, I would say. There'd be some women that would hold them up. And it was like, oh, okay, But other
a little
times,
cutesy thing.
Yeah, other times it was like guys, and I'm like, I'm not hugging you, like because some people would just like go up and be like, want a hug, and it's like, no.
Yeah.
I saw a video the other day. It was a guy at a 5K, and he was holding up a sign that said "free shrugs." And every time someone ran past, he would just kind of shrug at them, and I thought that was pretty funny.
That's pretty good. See, that's clever, but like, no, the anime conventions is a little creepy. The last one, as a general one, I was going to talk about just as a thing that has been seen that's kind of not normalized or banned at this point.
Yes.
Is people that would walk with like dog leashes.
Yeah, that was a weird thing that happened for a second, which is for dear listeners who may or may be underage. You probably may not want to listen to this episode, but it's definitely a kink thing. And thank God people are more aware of those sort of things. And now there's more boundaries around like such things where like you can't do that in public, but people know what it is now. Like, that's gross. Get it out. No one can consent to that.
Yeah, it was weird because you just like be walking in the convention center, you're walking normal around people, and then all of a sudden you're passing by or see someone on the opposite like aisle walking, and they're just like walking another person like a dog. And I'm like, what am I seeing? And I'm like, either I'm 14, 15, 16, and I'm like, huh? And it was just, and they're both dressed up in like anime character like outfits and stuff. But I'm like, huh? Like, it's just odd.
That's what I was going to ask. Are they cosplaying as dogs?
Yes, they usually are.
They're cosplaying.
Oh, okay. So
characters.
So if somebody's walking around a Nina Turner or Nina Tucker on a leash, that's pretty rough, right?
Like
Nina Tucker.
But
That's a good
didn't-
Full Metal Alchemist joke.
But they didn't really,
we got it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But
that was definitely a thing that happened though, Sam. So you're not even
Yeah.
like you're joking, but that was a real thing.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I assumed it was just like a bunch of freak. I mean, there's still freaks, but like I assumed it wasn't people in dog costumes. It was just like
No,
weirdos.
correct,
But
yeah.
it's kind of funny that they're in dog costumes. Because I mean, then I'm like, okay, they're playing the part, you know.
So gross. And yeah, that's
the
I don't see
only
that
The,
kind of
the
shenanigans
Sonic
anymore.
people say gotta go fast, and they run around the convention, you know.
the only thing that I saw that was a little more of a resurgence that I'm hoping does not stay is I saw a couple TikToks of people doing that with like the Chainsaw Man fandom
Yeah.
recently, and I'm like, can we not bring that back? Like I had like flashbacks, and I'm like, I don't need to see that again.
And to be fair, it wasn't everyone who was doing this. It would just be like you would see it once every con or so.
Yeah,
Like,
it wasn't a
to
common
be fair,
occurrence, but
to
it
my
was,
parents who are listening to this, it wasn't like a freak sex thing that was going on everywhere. This was like really weird, oddball things that you were like, oh, this was weird. Now I'm going to look away and just be aware of my surroundings more in stranger danger.
Yeah. So I guess I'm going to go into a story. The one that probably was the, I guess, like weirdest one. Thankfully, I've never had anything horrible happen or like traumatizing. I want to preface that. Nothing horrible has ever happened to me at an anime convention. The one thing that was super weird, though, and I've had a couple weird things occur to me over the years, but the one weird one was I was cosplaying from Hitalia, which, you know, the anime where it's personified countries.
May or may not be problematic, but
Yeah.
anyone who's from our generation, it's
Yeah.
got a soft spot in your heart, and you just ignore the problematic parts
Yeah.
and don't
So-
bring it up in general.
So either way, there was a panel where, you know, it was oh my gosh, it was some sort of improv. I don't quite know what it was, but it was based on the anime. Because it was just like, hey, here's people who like this anime. Let's gather together in a big room and we're going to have like an improv thing. I was like, oh,
Pretty
okay.
normal.
Like, I'm interested in the anime. I kind of want to go see what this is about. I don't know what it is. And so me and my friend went and we sat down, and her and I were cosplaying from it. So we were both in costume. But they, I guess, you know, a couple people went up and they were doing volunteers. And I was just sitting there watching, laughing, yada, yada. Well, eventually, they needed more volunteers. So I kind of was like volunteered because like most people like participated because there weren't like that many people, but they still wanted fresh people to come up and they wanted to get quote unquote new countries to come do stuff. So I came up because I was the only one cosplaying this certain country.
Yeah.
And so... Which, saying that, like, cosplaying a country, this sounds wild to say out loud, but
yeah,
if you
was
know,
it
you know.
Cambodia?
No, it was
Cambodia?
South Korea.
Oh, yeah. That was a latecomer to the game, too.
No, it was a new one, but no, it was an old one, but it got banned back in the day.
That's right. I completely forgot
because
about
South Korea
that.
was not a fan of being personified by Japan,
Yeah,
which makes
is
sense.
probably good. They got banned.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I just realized how even more messed up that is now.
Yeah,
Oh my
exactly.
God. Oh, wow.
Anywho, going back, this is 2010, mind you, everyone. This is a long time ago. But I went up and, okay, so we had a prompt. We had to pick from a hat whether or not we were a certain role. And the theme was zombie invasion. How would these characters survive a zombie apocalypse? Well, I was like an innocent. Like you had to choose whether or not you were the zombie or you were innocent survivor. So I chose survivor from this little bag. And so I had to band together and had to like act. Dude, I was like 14 or 15.
It's so embarrassing.
It was. And it was just like goofy, right? Because I'm like, I've never done improv.
Yeah. It's a skill you have to have in order to do it.
Right? Most of us are probably high schoolers, if not early college students. Like none of us know none of us has taken improv classes. I'm sorry. But it's just, you just try to act like the character, you know, that you're dressed up as. And I had this other character who was a zombie. And, you know, it was kind of like once you kind of got touched by the other people, it was like, oh, you're a zombie now. Well, this person, and it was a woman, they like grabbed onto my arm and I was like, oh, I'm bitten. Oh no. Like I'm a zombie, like pretending. But then she leaned in and bit my collarbone.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Not like hard, but like
still
legitimately
gross.
bit me. And I'm like
Ew.
15. And I was like, ah! Like it was so,
no.
and that's like, that genuinely took me aback because I was not expecting that. You know, watching the other people acting, it was bad. That was like probably like the worst was that someone actually like went towards my neck and bit it. And I was like, like, I did not volunteer after that. And I even told my friend, like, I'm ready to leave because I just didn't want to be by that person because it freaked me out.
God. Yeah, no kidding. That's definitely not cool at all. And it sounds like you may need some therapy from all these experiences.
Yeah, that was crazy. Weird. That was a odd one.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, thankfully, nothing like that has ever happened to me. And if anything happened, people would take pictures of you without asking. And that was probably the only thing that would have ever happened to me.
Well, that's good. That's better than mine.
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah, nothing has ever happened to me. And thankfully,
Steph, you've been traumatized.
I know.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. And then you just have to like play it off because it's like, what am I supposed to do? Like, like what was I to do in that moment?
I mean, now, if that does happen to you, dear listener, and you are a minor or even an adult, go to your staff, your convention staff, and tell them what happened right away. And depending on how severe it is, you know, make sure that justice is taken. If it does need to be filed as a police report, go ahead and do it. Like, we need to make sure that kind of stuff is stopped.
Yeah, it was just it was crazy. Go ahead, Sam.
I have an anime horror story.
Oh.
Ooh.
In the hearts of a bustling city nestled among the towering skyscrapers stood the Grand Convention Center, where anime fans from far and wide gathered the annual celebration of their beloved art form. Attendees atoned for colorful costumes, their excitement palpable as they immersed themselves in the world of anime, manga, and gaming. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows over the city streets, the convention center took an eerie glow under the flickering neon lights. Among the throngs of cosplayers and enthusiasts,
is it the Hashling Slayer man?
No, let me finish. Whispers began to spread of strange occurrences inside the convention hall. The cosplay contest, the centerpiece of the event, was about to commence. Participants lined up backstage, nerves tingling with anticipation. Among them was Mia. Mia was a talented cosplayer known for her intricate and lifelike costumes. She had spent months crafting her latest creation, a stunning replica of a character from a popular horror anime. As Mia waited in the dimly lit backstage area, she couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Strange shadows danced in the corners of her visions, and a chill ran down her spine. Brushing off her unease as the pre-show jitters, she focused on the task at hand. The contest began, and one by one, cosplayers took to the stage, showcasing their craftsmanship and creativity. Mia's turn arrived, and as she stepped into the spotlight, her heart pounding with excitement. But as she began her performance, a sudden power outage plunged the auditorium into darkness. Remember, anime convention horror story.
Like a legitimate just horror story at an anime convention.
Panic rippled through the crowd as emergency lights flickered to life, casting an eerie glow over the chaos. In the confusion, Mia stumbled off stage, her costume snagging on something unseen in the darkness. Desperate to escape the growing sense of dread, she tore free and fled into the labyrinth corridors of the convention center. Alone in the darkness, Mia's footsteps echoed ominously as she searched for an exit. But with each turn, the corridors seemed to shift and twist, leading her deeper into the heart of the building. Strange whispers filled the air, and phantom figures darted at the edge of her vision. Is she going into the back rooms? I can't tell you. I have no idea. We're about to find out. It's almost over.
Okay.
I'm halfway
through. Good.
Where was it? Where was I? Edge of her vision. Yep. Yeah, just as Mia feared, she would be lost forever in the maze-like halls. She stumbled upon a forgotten chamber hidden deep within the convention center. Inside, she discovered a chilling sight, lifelike mannequins adorned in tattered cosplay costumes. Creepy. Their blank faces turned towards her with a haunting emptiness. As Mia recoiled in horror, she realized with drawing horror that these were not ordinary mannequins. They were the trapped souls of cosplayers who had vanished without a trace over the years.
Ooh.
Their spirits bound to the convention center by some dark and malevolent force. With a sense of growing dread, Mia knew that she had to escape before she too became a victim of the convention center's sinister power. Racing against time, she navigated the treacherous corridors, evading unseen horrors lurking in the shadows. At last, Mia burst through the doors of the convention center, gasping for breath as she emerged into the cold night air. Behind her, the building loomed like a malevolent specter, its secrets hidden beneath a facade of neon lights and colorful banners. As Mia fled into the safety of the city streets, she vowed never to return to the haunted halls of the anime convention. But deep down, she knew that the dark forces lurking within would forever haunt her dreams, a chilling reminder of the horrors that lurked beneath the surface of her beloved fandom.
Well, that's just tragic. That's not a horror story. She should be able to go back and enjoy the convention with all of her friends.
They're
I don't know.
gone.
I went to ChatGPT and said, "Write me an anime convention horror story."
Really?
That's what it came up with.
That's really
I was
good,
about to say
actually.
credit the artist you're reading that story
I
from,
know.
but really, ChatGPT?
Yeah, my boy Chat. He
Oh
came
my
up with it.
god!
Oh, that's what we should do. We should develop AI that's called Chad GPT,
Oh,
and it just like
no.
talks like a Chad.
Oh,
You know,
God.
it's like, dude, I was at the convention
thanks.
and I wanted to glomp the nearest person near me, but I had my yaoi paddle from my frat.
Oh
Oh,
god,
Jesus.
no.
Gross.
I've got one last little story.
Okay.
Okay, I know I gave a pretty bad story, but one that was equally bad.
Oh no.
Was it about the mannequins?
Nope. Was when people in the hallway just start screaming out, "You lost the game."